The first thing I did for this project was go to Creative Fabrica. This is the website I use to get all of my cut files, SVGs, fonts, and all of those fun things. So I decided to download this Merry Christmas. I'm really into the pink colors, so I was looking for some other fun sublimation ideas for my next project. Honestly, just scrolling on Creative Fabrica just gets my creative ideas flowing, and I just come up with so many fun crafty ideas. So I go a little crazy on the download button and download a bunch of these fun little cut files. Now remember, sublimation cut files can also just be made into like a print then cut image on Cricut Design Space. So just because it says sublimation, it's just a PNG file essentially, right? So you can do it for a Cricut print and cut. You can do it for tons of other ideas. It doesn't just have to be with a sublimation printer. That being said, today specifically, we're going in and doing a little bit of an experiment where I'm taking a Dollar Tree canvas, which is 100% cotton, and I'm going to be sublimating on it. So now we're jumping over to Cricut Design Space. I'm going over to the upload button. I'm going to select browse, and then I'm going to click on the unzipped file. You need to unzip the file once you download it off of Creative Fabrica, and I have taught you how to do that in some other videos, so I will leave that down below for you. I'm selecting complex, and when I'm adding it in, I need to select print then cut image. You can go ahead and change the title up here if you'd like, and then I'm ready to continue to the next step. Now I'm going to go in and select the cut file I'm wanting to add to my canvas. So go ahead and click on that and select add to canvas. Size it to where you need to. I need to click the lock button up here to make it so that it all matches when I size it. Otherwise, you're going to get the height be a little off and it looks a little funky. So I went ahead and changed the size to match the measurements for my canvas. And then I'm ready to go ahead and select make it. The next step for sublimation, it's very similar to heat transfer vinyl, where you need to mirror image because the way that you apply it is essentially upside down. And then once it gets applied, it is the correct way, especially for writing. So I mirrored my image and I'm sending it to printer. I'm going to select my sublimation printer. This is actually an Epson EcoTank 2850 that I converted into a sublimation printer. I turn off the bleed and I went ahead and printed it. Make sure you cut off the registration marks that printed from Cricut Design Space. This is that black border that it creates around your print then cut image because my Cricut Design Space, of course, thinks that I'm going to then cut it out of my Cricut, and that's how your Cricut reads it. But for this project, I was actually just using Cricut Design Space to create and size my design. That way I don't need to learn a whole new difficult software. I can just use exactly what I have, my free Cricut Design Space. I'm going ahead and cutting it down to size as much as possible. That way it doesn't overlap over the edges. With sublimation, you want as flat and perfect of a press as possible. Now I am using my industrial heat press, so I do know I'm going to get a nice even press. So essentially all I need to do is use my heat tape to tape down a few little pieces. You do need to use heat specific tape. Regular tape will just melt. I'm using the Cricut brand one that I picked up at Michael's. It was fairly cheap, and I will link the other one that I used down below as well. The heat press is set to 385 degrees, and I'm going to try to do it for 60 seconds and see what happens. So we're going to go in and do our canvas. This one is the rotating heat press. It's the 5-in-1, and I got it off of Amazon. I put this parchment paper underneath because I do feel like it's going to fold over a little bit, and then we're going to put this piece on top to protect my press in case the ink decides to leak. So we are going to go ahead and press it, and we'll see what happens in 60 seconds. Okay, it smells like it's burning. I'm scared. I did turn it off early. It was smelling like it was burning, so I wanted to take it off. It's literally smoking. It smells disgusting. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna move this to the side without burning my fingers off. Okay, we're gonna move this to the side. So the ink did transfer through a little bit, which is what I expected. So I'm glad I put this on. Okay, so I'm ready to peel it up. It is still a little bit warm, but if you do sublimation, you probably know the feeling. It's so hard to wait until it cools down because you're just so excited to see. Okay, so not bad, not horrible. I knew it would be a lot more dull because it is not the proper blank. It's just regular canvas, which is 100% cotton, but it's actually pretty cute. I like the doll look. It goes with my room theme and my colors for Christmas, so I'm going to put this in a little, actually I have it here. I have these frame holders that I use for my mom tiles that I sell, and that was my idea to have it like this and sitting out. So this is a really cute little DIY craft. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me for today's crafty video. I had so much fun with this little experiment, and let me know, have you been considering sublimation? Make sure you're subscribed for tons more crafty content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!